All right, everybody. Thank you for joining in on another episode of Windshield Time at Mountainland Supply. I'm here with Brandon, our CEO, and Brandon Keetch.
Hello.
And we're here with Spencer Shorts, who's remaining quiet for the remainder of the episode.
Can you say hello one more time?
Who, Keetch?
Yeah, Keetch.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Okay.
I love you, Keetch.
We're doing a little series, the People of Mountainland series. I just dubbed it that in this moment just now.
I like it.
People of Mountainland. And we had Shandon on last week.
Love
this
that guy.
week, it's you. Say that one more time.
I love that guy.
Shandon has a sickness where if he says, I love you, you have to say it back.
It's
So-
weird.
That's right.
So Keetch is making sure he says it back to him.
Yep.
So what we're doing in this series is we're just asking people about their journey through Mountainland because there's a lot of people who are drivers right now, or they're in the warehouse, or they're in inside sales, outside sales, whatever. They're in a position, and maybe they're just wondering if there's a pathway forward in the company, and where does that lead to? So, a lot of people who have been at Mountainland for quite some time, we're just trying to talk to them and see what got them to the point that they're at, and if they have any advice for people as they're coming up through the ranks. So, Brandon Keetch,
Yes.
we want to hear your story.
Okay.
So what brought Brandon Keetch to Mountainland Supply? And when?
This was back in 93,
Whoa.
Old.
31 years ago.
31 years.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, 31 years.
You're only like 35 years old.
Started here when I was 8.
I wish.
Were you 15 when you started?
I was 18.
Oh.
18 years old.
Wow.
Did you work anywhere before Mountainland? Like, did you have a formal job?
I did. I was a janitor for Alpine School District.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because your dad worked at Alpine School District.
No, he worked at the MATC.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so the reason how I got on at Mountainland was my uncle was a plumber for Alpine School District,
Oh,
and he told me to come down here and talk to Brent Anderson one day.
nice.
Yeah, so I showed up one day in my red sweats.
The same Brent Anderson that hired me and
Well,
Brandon.
Yeah.
Your American Fork red sweats?
Yes.
Did it say caveman down the
No,
side?
I
Oh.
didn't say
Keep
By the
going.
way, go Lone Peak. Knights.
Oh, boy.
caveman.
Knights. Lone Peak.
First blood.
So 93, I showed up. My uncle told me to come talk to Brent because there were some openings here. Showed up after work one day and interviewed with him, and we got hired on. So
The humble age of 18.
yes,
Awesome.
yes.
What school were you a janitor at?
Mountain View High School, right up the street.
Mountain View, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
There you go.
man, that building's old.
it is old. It is.
So what was your first job here?
I was working out in the yard,
Yard dog.
so sweeping the yard, taking care of the yard.
We had another name for that, and it's yard something else. And a lot of people will know what it is, but it's the degree under the yard dog.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and you know what it is.
I
You know what it is.
okay.
Okay, again, we're trying to not make this mature or explicit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't do it.
Okay.
We think that we've kept that even through Calvert and Shandon. So
Yeah.
let's,
Let's keep it.
yeah.
All
So
right.
how
Come on,
long did you
Keith.
do that for?
So I was out in the yard for probably about a year.
So back then, the yard went to the edge of the building, and that was it, right?
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the very south end was dirt.
Right.
So
And tamaracks, a bunch
Yep.
of, yeah.
and every time we went out there with a forklift, would get stuck every winter. So
Yeah.
spend half a
Suck.
day getting the forklift out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was out in the yard for about a year.
Burning your hands on cast iron fittings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then a driver spot came open. So local driver. So I went to driving the north route.
So back then, we only had 4 routes, right?
We only had
Or you had 3, north, central, and south.
Yeah.
When I came on, there was 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the north route, I did that for a couple years. And then,
Which you were familiar with that because you lived up there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, born and
Yeah.
raised
Alpine.
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 Yeah.
Snob.
Whoa, hey,
God's-
easy.
God's country.
Hey, I
I thought you were Highland.
I'm Highland. Highland
same.
Alpine, we're the same.
Same.
Alpine's the snobs.
Oh, really?
Okay, I'll give you that. But
But Keetch,
Back
you
in
were
the-
on the border of Highland, and you actually, I can't say that because Zach and Colin are they're
Oh,
old
so now
Alpine.
it changes.
No, they're old Alpine. I was
That-
going to help back you up.
that's a point.
okay.
Old Alpine,
Alpine.
and Highland, good people.
Yeah.
That's God's country.
Yeah.
It's changed over the years.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Before all the pretty people
He
moved
he
in.
used to live by the old country corner,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and
Just north
everybody,
of it.
everybody I tell that I'm from Alpine, he says, "Oh, so you got money?"
yeah.
Go, no, we're down from in the lowlands.
Yeah.
So
You were just barely in Alpine,
Yeah,
like
like
just off
3
Alpine
houses.
Highway. Yeah.
Yep.
Or Highland Highway. Highland Highway.
Alpine Highway.
Alpine Highway. Alpine Highway
and
goes.
Highland.
Alpine Highway
That's
goes up
called
to Alpine.
Highway right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. But Highland Highway, is that not the road that goes east and west?
It's Timpanogos Highway now,
But
but it used to be Highland Highway.
Okay.
People would call it that.
What are you giggling about? I know my geography. That was my stomping grounds. I drove that route. That was when I came on, it was North Central route. Alpine was.
A couple of years ago.
There's a few. Anyway, so you made it to the Mitsubishi Fuso.
Yep, I was on that for a couple of years.
How many gates fell off of your truck when you were driving?
I didn't have any gates fall off.
And you had a nice truck. Mine was not
No
all that
gates
nice.
fell off. No,
Okay.
I took care of my trucks. So
Oh, you took care of your
Oh.
trucks. Here we go. Shots fired again.
I know.
All right.
and then
Do we just end it right here?
Yeah.
I think we've heard enough.
I
haven't we?
wouldn't have brought you in if
I think
thought
we've
you were
hit the
gonna be
10-minute
mean.
mark. We're good.
Yeah.
I've got quite a little story here.
No,
Well,
it's
you
a
better
good
hurry
story, and
this
I love
up,
it.
man.
Okay, and then long haul came open, so I was able to drive down to Blanding once a week and then out to the basin once a week.
So you did the
those two
Monticello
routes, and I
and
did
the-
that before we had a Roosevelt branch and Monticello branch.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that
So
Blanding
Red Mechanical
was our
was
biggest.
a big one down
yeah,
there. Yep.
still is today. I
Yeah,
think,
for
isn't
sure,
it?
yeah.
So that was a very long day, especially when you went down to Mexican Hat.
3 a.m. is
Wow.
when you would come in to do that one, right?
Yes.
Do they still do that? They still come in that early? Oh, because we have a store down there. They don't have
yeah,
to
we
do
just
it.
do transfer.
They do the transfer now.
Yeah.
So back then, they used to drive from Orem to Blanding, so they'd leave at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
every Wednesday, wasn't it? Or Thursday? It was Thursday
it's Thursdays.
because I had to be back from Price because they used my truck for Blanding too.
Oh,
So we'd switch seats.
yeah, yeah,
It's a long day, dude.
yeah. But I enjoyed it. I really liked the Vertal route. That was a lot of fun too.
Good people out there.
Great people, and that was the biggest thing that I liked about those routes is getting the relationships with the customers. So
Yep.
We just talked about that.
Yeah, with Shandon.
Drivers and relationships.
Because most of the
It's key.
time, you see the customer more than the salesperson does as a driver.
Right.
Even a long haul driver, you're seeing them at least every week.
yes,
And sometimes a salesman, it's once every 2 weeks, depending on their route.
right.
So you have a lot of touches with that customer,
And it's a face-to-face touch, too, which is
and it's a position
really
of trust. They
important,
trust
yeah.
you to take care of their stuff, their returns, and everything else.
Right.
So you went from long hauls. What was your next step?
I came in the warehouse, pulled
Pulled
tickets.
tickets.
Yep. Pulled tickets for a few years, and then the counter came open, so jumped up on the counter. And
how long had you been with Mountainland when you hit the counter?
I was in Mountainland for probably about
8 years.
probably like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. So it used to be.
So out of 31 years, we're only to year 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's some big gaps in there. He'll make up some time.
I will.
But back in the day, it was pretty much standard that you worked driver,
Yeah.
local route driver for
Right.
at least the first 5 years,
Yes.
and then maybe you got to the counter.
Right.
So it took a long time to get to the counter back in the day.
And then once you got to the counter,
You were
everybody
there.
wanted to get through those green
The
swinging
green doors. There used to be swinging doors by the counter in Orem,
Yep.
and they were green on the warehouse side. They were
Yeah.
wood on the office side.
That's right.
But it was always, man, I've got to get inside those green doors 'cause that's
Yep.
where the real money's at.
Yep. And I was able to do that, and come inside sales for plumbing. So
and you helped Lance Pope, and did you help Alvy as well?
I helped him. Helped Alvy, Lance Pope. Who else?
Putnam
No, I didn't. I
or
didn't
Scott?
help Larry.
Did you help Scott with the
No.
mines?
Yeah, I helped Scott quite a bit.
Yeah.
Randy Osler a
Yeah.
lot.
So mechanical, industrial, plumbing, residential, and commercial.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of knowledge.
So I did that for about 4 years, And then 2000, about 5 years, about 2005, Bob Rasmussen came to me and offered me an outside salesman.
So right after I
12
came
years.
here, that's one of the first moves I remember that was kind of like, you had these like bombshell moves. Like if somebody moved from the counter to inside or inside to outside, that was like shell shock, you know?
Right.
And I remember that when Keetch went outside sales, because he was always kind of like the inside guy that we'd always go to if we couldn't find something or if we didn't know something. Because I was in the warehouse at that time.
Mm-hmm.
If we couldn't find anything or had a question about the way components went together, we'd always run in and grab Keetch. So when he went outside, we're like, great, who are we going to talk to now? Keetch was our guy.
Awesome.
That made you feel good, didn't it?
It did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that was 2005.
2005.
So 12 years with the company.
Yep.
And almost 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nearly 19.
Yeah.
19.
And then I did that.
It's past my
for-
10 digits on that.
I'll take
It
my
takes
shoes
me a
off. Yeah.
I did that for about 14 years, outside plumbing sales. And then decided I wanted to change. So a spot came open for MLOR, assistant branch manager. So I applied for that and got that. Me and Shandon. Shandon was the branch manager here. Did that for almost 2 years. And then the branch manager spot came open. Shandon went to regional. So I got the branch manager. And I've been there ever since.
Well, and
Yeah,
then
just
recently,
Yeah.
you're now a regional.
Right. Since August. of
And so
last
what are
year.
your responsibilities as regional manager?
So I am over the Spanish Fork branch, CHOR, and then the Ag MLAG, and then I'm currently the branch manager here at MLOR.
And then when the new showroom comes online, that'll be under your
Correct.
purview
Yeah.
as well.
New showroom should be open here in a month or so.
Sorry, I'm trying to do a quick calculation off the top of my head here. And I might be off here, but if we added all those branches together, the total revenue for the company, you're overseeing a third.
It's close to 40%.
Yeah, so probably from a third to 40% of the revenue for our whole entire company
Yeah.
are in the branches that you oversee.
Yes.
That's huge.
And you facilitate the transfers for
Yeah.
Probably half the company.
Yeah.
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 Out
I
of
have a
those
lot
branches.
of great people that work at all those branches.
Thank goodness.
To help
We'd
make
be
that all,
screwed.
to help all that make happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
So-
and it takes great leadership too. Like it, I mean, you got to give yourself some credit there too. The reason that they're so successful and they're great at what they do is also because of what you do, being a great leader for them.
Well, thank you. I've learned a lot from good people here too.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that you've been able to rise to such success following Shandon. I mean, actually, it's probably pretty easy for you. I mean, Shandon set the bar down right here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was just
Yeah, Keetch.
pretty easy to hurdle that one, even with how tall Keetch is. That's not a protected class. I can make fun of that.
Get a squatty potty.
Yeah, you
I don't-
can.
Make
I
a
don't
good
think
jump,
height-
that'd be good.
Okay.
Kim Labor McClaws.
It's okay.
Make sure that's not a protected class.
So when I remember when I was in the warehouse, of course, you were our go-to. But then when we were in outside sales together, and he's shaking his head because Brandon and I got to share an office for what, 5 years,
Quite
6
a
years.
while. Yeah,
We call it the war room.
Yeah.
So Shandon or me, Brandon, Zach, and Matt McAllister.
Yep.
Matt wasn't in outside sales, but he shared that office with us. But it was all of us outside guys in there, dude. I'm telling you, Keetch was so freaking fun in that office. I mean, Keetch is a fun guy, anyways. But
Wasn't Lewis in there too?
oh yeah, Lewis was in there too. Yeah. We had 5 of us in there. It was cramped.
Was that the room that was like the southwest
It used to be Bob Rasmussen's office.
right
Yep.
there?
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember when I started, because I don't know if you guys know this, but when I started, I was in the back room.
Oh yeah, I remember.
It was like the back corner.
It's back where now it's kind of the copy room.
Yeah, the estimators are back there, aren't they?
Back there where BJ is, isn't it? Where BJ
Dal-
is?
Dallas was back there for a while.
Oh, that back corner.
That back corner.
Okay, yeah, estimators.
Yeah, the estimators are there.
Yeah.
That's where like the bathrooms used to vent the exhaust fans.
It used to be
into
the
that.
library way back in the day.
Well, but the vents from the bathroom, the women's bathroom and the guys' bathroom in the warehouse,
Well,
actually
the door used to be right across the hall. From
they
it.
vent right into there, so you could tell when someone was in there, but I remember going down that hall because the copy machine was down there.
Yeah.
By you guys.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of giggling.
Yeah, it was right outside our office.
A lot of giggling, and some people, other people we've had in the past, when there's giggling, you guys aren't working.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We got a lot of work done, but man, we had a good time doing it, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
That's what it's all about, right?
It is. So if you could tell, like, maybe just a bit of advice for somebody who's out there right now, just kind of going through the motions, what would you tell them about their time at Mountainland?
Well, my time here at Mountainland, I've learned a lot, and I've learned if you work hard, you put in the time, and you just come to work and you just have fun, and you do what you're supposed to do, and just keep to your own business and have fun, meet friends, and that if you take care, I've always told my employees, if you take care of Mountainland, Mountainland's going to take care of you.
I like that.
That's good advice.
Yeah, so I think that's a great way to look at it for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something about Keetch that what I've noticed is, him, the advice that he's given, he lives that, by the way.
For sure.
But one quality that I think makes him one of our most outstanding leaders that we have is his patience.
Like Job.
Mm-hmm. I've seen you've had to deal with a lot of stuff, a lot of difficult stuff. I would even say we've asked you to do that, and there's no pushback, there's no complaints, and he's very patient. He works through the problem, solves the problem, and not that I get frustrated with you, but I know that there's been people that get frustrated that come into your office, and you can just sit there and you can be a patient man and take that. And I think that's one of the great qualities that makes you one of our outstanding leaders that we have in Mountainland. That, and I think that also is due to the success that you've had is because of that. So
yeah,
thank you.
Great, you're a great man.
Thanks.
I think one thing that Brandon did for me personally is I could always ask Brandon a question.
Yeah,
and he never made me feel stupid. And you don't realize how much that means to somebody until you've kind of walked it with them. When you come up in this company or any company in this industry, there's so many things that need to be learned.
Yeah.
And I still don't know them all. You still don't know them all.
Right.
The industry's been around for so long. There's so many intricacies, so many parts and bits and pieces. You just don't realize that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're bold enough to ask a question, most of the time somebody here is going to give you an answer. And Brandon is one of those people. And on the flip side, he's not afraid to ask a question either. If he's unsure, he doesn't just mire through it and try and pick his way through. He'll ask a question so he does it right.
Or he'll tell you if you ask him a question and he doesn't know.
Yep.
He doesn't try and fool you.
Yeah.
And say, "Oh yeah, I think I know, and it's this and this and this." Because for me, I'm a big guy on trust.
Yeah.
And if you try and BS your way through that,
right?
And then I find out afterwards because it's the wrong information you give me. I mean, my trust level goes down, and I've never had that issue with Keetch. But it's also because he'll be upfront with me and be like, "I don't know, but let me find out for you."
Yeah.
And I frequent his office personally because I have personal questions about stuff for family or for myself. And there's times that I've thrown you some curveballs and you're like, "I don't know, but let me go do it." And then, a half hour later, he's like, "Okay, here's printouts, here's specs, here's things like that." It's like, "Oh, awesome."
And then we both know.
Exactly. And then I feel confident in the information he gives me just because of our history together. And phenomenal guy.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to do the golf clap for you.
I would echo Brandon's comment. You're a good man, Keetch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks
very
for
much.
what you do, bud.
We're all on this journey together.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Did you know I love you?
I love you too.
Okay, good.
Should I say I love you too?
Yes, please.
I love you.
I love you, and I love Shandon. He wanted to make sure I said that.
I'm sure he did. All right. Well, thanks to Brandon and Spencer and Shandon and
Joey.
I'm just facilitating the conversation. But thanks to you guys for jumping in and spending some windshield time with us. We'll see you down the road. Thanks.
Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.